a client that is aware of our approach to millwork, the level of detail, the level of execution, the amount of time that we're going to put into things, and they value all those things, and that's a good partnership for us. That's someone that we want to be working for. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the NS podcast. Hopefully you guys had a great break. I know myself, I did. It was actually the first year I think I didn't work at all the entire time. So as most of you guys know, NS Builders, we take off the day before, or we take off Christmas Eve all the way to New Year's Day, and then come back. It gives everyone a chance to go home, see their families, just to enjoy some time off during the holiday season. Super fun. On the day before, we were actually supposed to do a big holiday party. And I'm going to get into all the changes and stuff that you guys have seen on social media over the last, or actually right at the beginning of the new year. But right before break, we typically do, a team meeting in the shop. We talk about the year. We talk about, the year coming up, the year prior. We talk about our goals. We reconnect about everything that I've had an opportunity to sit down. Let me stop there for a second. I sit down with every one of my team twice a year. We do our, annual reviews, but I do it twice. I do it once in May and once in November. And November gives me an opportunity to kind of, offer compensation changes, promotions, things like that on a more structured basis. Obviously that can change throughout the year, but that's the more structured, cost of living increases and things like that. But that also gives me the opportunity to touch base and talk with everyone before our big company meeting. So I can realize, one of the things I ask in these meetings is like, what can I be doing better? What could the company be doing better? And we get to talk about that in our company meeting before our break. But and we typically do that, and then we do some sort of team building exercise or event. We've done go-kart racing. I think 2 years ago we did paintball, and we decided to do paintball again this year because we wanted to do some sort of outdoor activity. Obviously, with the COVID, concerns, more about the fact that everyone was going to go be traveling and seeing their family, elderly, and things like that. No one wanted to really risk it, and we opted to actually delay our holiday dinner until after the new year here, which was tentatively going to be planned for in the next week or so. But now now I'm testing positive for COVID. And the new variant, everyone's just kind of a little bit more concerned, and I want to be able to do this at a time where everyone feels comfortable and we can go and enjoy a nice dinner out as a team. But with that being said, so we did go paintballing. Most of everyone joined. We had an awesome time. A few guys were unsure if they wanted to be involved. They went. They had a fun time. They both actually texted me after and said, "Man, that was way more fun than expected." So it's always fun to get out there and kind of beat on each other a little bit. Liz and Rachel, they both had other things going on, so they did not attend. But let's get into what is new for the year. That company meeting was actually the last company meeting with everyone that was, part of NS Builders. Ken and I have branched off. We've been talking about this for a couple of years now, about him having some ownership in a cabinet company, whether that was here or elsewhere. I had made a very stupid comment, I believe, on the Modern Craftsman podcast many years ago, saying that partners were for dancing. That might have even been the podcast that Ken was on. And I've eaten my words since then. I don't know why I said it then. It was probably some stupid cliche moment, and or saying I wanted to. I don't know. I have no idea why I said it. Either way, we've gotten over that, and Ken and I have partnered and started Materia Millwork. And why did we start another millwork company, or a millwork company separate from NS Builders? Well, NS Builders has started its career in carpentry, and then into small remodeling, and then into whole home remodeling, and new construction. And more of our focus is shifting into new construction, custom, very architecturally distinct homes. architecturally driven homes, and these are, ultimately, one of the things that I keep is a reoccurring description of what we're building are these forever homes. Families are coming to us wanting to build a home forever, or individuals are looking to build these forever, and we love that because it really, you know, it takes on a totally different life than your standard home, and it's really fun to work collaboratively with a great team through that process. The architect, the designer, the homeowner, my team. So many people get involved, even early on, and it's just really fun to kind of dig into that. So, what did that mean for the Millwork shop? The last 4 years, we've looked at the Millwork shop, and one of the things I said when Ken started was that, hey, there might be times when we're not doing cabinetry, and I might need you in the field, and that really never happened. But what we did notice is that the shop, as we started hiring people, we would have these extreme busy periods and then these lulls, and then these extreme busy periods and then a lull. And the lulls for the last 2 years in a row have come towards the end of the year, which isn't always a bad thing. It's kind of nice to ride the year out, not so stressed out and high strung, and kind of just coast through the end of the year and then come back in kind of hard. And that's actually what we're doing here. But this time, the team is coming in as a new company, being Materia. And frankly, Ken and I just realized that if NS Builders is going to continue to build, you know, less homes, but more complex homes, the need for 100% 365 millwork might not be, enough to support the shop. Maybe as a three-person shop, but the goal is to grow the shop into a bigger shop, into a bigger team, offer a different product and a wide array of product. And we've also talked about furniture. Ian, who's one of our cabinet makers, he grew up in furniture, and it's something he really likes. And him and I have talked for the last couple of years about introducing more furniture, and it was hard to do that within NS Builders. So at the core of it, we decided that if we're going to grow the cabinet shop into something bigger with a bigger team and a bigger space and more capacity, we weren't going to be able to support that as one builder. And we actually started conversations with a handful of builders prior to launching as, hey, we're going to be splitting this off, or hey, if you need something, we're willing to, work with you direct for millwork. And we actually did a handful of projects prior to branching off. And then we have a handful that, we had negotiated prior to starting the company that we are jumping right into here, January 2022. So we want, when we launched and mentioned it on January 1st, we talked about building strategic partnerships with select builders. And I had a phone call today, and someone had asked, what does that mean? Are you trying to be their only mill worker, or what does that strategic partnership look like? And ultimately, what it means is that, it doesn't mean that we have to be, we're not looking to replace every mill worker, or we're not looking to be your, uh, non-compete, meaning you have to only work with us. Exclusivity, that's what I was looking for. This is about the project. If it's a good project and a good budget, and a client that is aware of our approach to millwork, the level of detail, the level of execution, the amount of time that we're going to put into things, and they value all those things, and that's a good partnership for us. That's someone that we want to be working for, and we would certainly entertain that project. It, inevitably, it is more expensive. Our product is expensive. It takes a lot of time. We've been tracking how many hours that we've put into this for the last 4 years. We understand that a lot of this time goes into the nitty-gritty details, the details that we're talking about online, the grain matching, the hand stitch veneer, the things that are setting us apart from the standard millwork and cabinetry out there. And that is exactly what we've been wanting to do with NS Builders. And now we're offering that into a larger array of people, other builders. We're doing some direct to consumer products, or projects. We're doing some furniture. An interior designer had mentioned on Instagram just probably a few months ago, saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to wait till July to see this credenza." And I had messaged her. I said, hey, we could build that for you and have it to you in 2 months. And, she said, well, understood, but what's the price? And we end up pricing it out and end up being about double. But that it worked out. She was still okay with that. It was still within the price range, and she was going to get it in, 1/4 the amount of time, I believe it was. And we took that as an opportunity of, hey, here's how we can introduce furniture into our process. We can be a mill worker that does furniture, custom cabinetry, and then expand upon that. Maybe we offer some off the shelf products. We have built a knockdown bed frame. I've been getting ads for this bed frame on Instagram for months now, and I was like, we could build that better. I didn't like the way they had it was all finger jointed, put together. So I was like, let's build this out of solid stock and see if we can make this nice. And the guys put it together. It is a little bit more expensive, but we looked at it as like, if we could build, 10 of these at a time, it wouldn't be more expensive. We could actually compete with that market. So it's just interesting to see how the team has approached the opportunity to be more creative and open up the doors to other opportunities just other than just building cabinetry for NS builders. Um, you know, for me, the benefit to NS builders and our projects that we're going to be building for these, forever home type clients is that with the increased capacity to the workshop, we get more creativity, more people involved, and have more capacity to produce really, really killer millwork because we have more resources. We have, I think creativity is often stemmed from, being collaborative and being open to hearing everyone's ideas. That's one of the things I really preach and make sure that everyone, in our company meeting I talked about, it's like everyone has the opportunity to voice their opinion. If you think we can do something better, if you have a more creative way to approach this, I want you to take that opportunity to present it. And it kind of goes back to, if you listen to the Modern Craftsman podcast with Andrew Patterson, he talked about when before they drywall, he has his entire team of like 40 people walk the job with the prints and walk around and just make sure it truly is ready for drywall. And one of the project coordinators might walk in a powder room and say, hey, isn't there supposed to be a sconce up there? And it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, we forgot to run a wire for that. It's like when you're on a job day in and day out, or if you're working on one project day in and day out, or one piece of furniture day in and day out, sometimes you can oversee the slightest detail, or even on the design side, maybe it's you just get, not caught in a rut, but you're doing the same thing kind of over and over, and you know you don't always have that creativity to, or that opportunity to explore creativity, because you get stuck in that process, and you're not stopping for a moment and reconsidering, is this the best way, or is this going to net the best result? Where you open that up to more resources and more people, it 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 oftentimes can lead to more creative solutions, or at least more creative thinking, where someone might come to the table with a ridiculous idea, but when that is presented, it makes you think differently. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, that is ridiculous and that would never work. But now that you said that, it actually makes me think of, what if we did it this way? And that's, again, why I think that growing the mill workshop into its own business is going to lend itself to having the opportunity to be more creative and expand on what we have. And I say we, but what Ken and his team have really put together over the last 4 years of building what it was the NS Builders Mill Workshop, and now is Materia Millwork. Um, you know, Materia was, people have asked what the premise is behind Materia, and ultimately we looked at thousands of words, and went back to the Latin version of them, or kind of pulled the definition apart, and we came up with a few. And there was another one that we really liked the definition of it. It made it kind of mysterious, but it didn't sound great across across the tongue. It was too harsh, and I'm not gonna say it here just because if someone else is using it, they may feel differently. But we felt as though it just sounded too harsh, and where we felt like Materia was a very soft, almost feminine look to it, and which leads to our branding, which is the pink on pink, or the we have the more masculine side where it is that dark gray, but then has the pink font. Um, we felt as though it needed to be a soft brand, and ultimately that's where we ended up with Materia Millwork. The alliteration behind Materia and Millwork was great, and it really just worked. It worked out well. And like I said, it was kind of months and months of going back and forth with Ken, and sharing multiple Google Docs and so on and so forth. Before I get into, speaking of alliteration, actually, Reno Run is a partner for this podcast, and big thanks to them. They are an app-based product delivery service. So if last minute delivery, or they're doing full takeoffs, helping with product delivery, one of the biggest things for us is we spent a lot of time on our job sites where we would need one thing, and that was the absolute killer. My guys would go to the hardware store in the middle of the day, and I'd see this receipt come across my email saying, $3.48 box of screws. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, man, that guy left the job, went to the store, bought a box of screws, drove back to the job, and then had to get back to work. And maybe it was, a 10-minute, drive down the street, but that's got to be at least an hour, 2 hours of lost time between just, everything that goes into leaving the job, getting in your truck, driving, walking around the store, paying for it, getting back in your truck, getting back on the job. So, when Rent a Run came about, we started using that. We're able to hop on the app or hop online, or even give our dedicated sales guy a call and say, hey, we need this box of screws. They're able to get that thing delivered to the job site in 2 hours. And it's been great. And now we're exploring that, they're getting into bigger ordering, even, full project takeoffs, which is super cool to see. They're in Boston, Philly, Chicago, as well as Canada. But if you are paying attention to them on LinkedIn, that they're growing. They're hiring like crazy. So whether you are in the industry and want to check them out and you're in the area, head over to their website, Rent a Run. If you guys are interested in getting some discount and you are in the area, hit up podcast.rentarun.com/NS. I talked about Materia. We also, same day, launched Motif Media. Another alliteration. We got three back to back here. Motif Media. So Doug, the story of Doug, my videographer, the producer for this podcast, the producer of the Modern Craftsman podcast, my content strategy consultant. We bounce ideas off each other. He produces Site Visit, he produces Revealed, he produces the Crafted series. He's helping produce all of the finished video shots. He's even doing some of the photography at this point. Doug and I went to college together, and he tells a story similar to myself. We were fine with each other in college, but we were never really friends. If anything, we kind of gave each other a hard time. And it was when I started my business and I started renovating my own house, I reached out to him and said, hey, I would love to film this. I think it would be really cool. And I've always watched This Old House, and Home Time was, I don't know why, but Home Time was always my favorite. I don't even remember what channel it was on. I think it was on TLC. But we hooked up and we started filming the renovation of Tuckerman Street. We ended up cutting ties on that. He had started a company called Puffin Media, and who I was working with. And that was him coming down. He's driving from Maine. He'd film all day and then put together an episode at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we would recap, and then he put that together as an episode. It was super fun, but he ended up going to work for corporate America, and it was harder and harder to get him to film some of our projects, or to even do these story videos that we wanted to do, like the behind the scenes of who NS Builders was. And for a short spurt, I actually worked with another media company who I respect highly, Five Tool. And Tyler and his gang, they were great. But I missed working with Doug because I felt like Doug and I had this, this mojo, and we ultimately I called him out of, one day I'll actually tell this story the right way. I was scrolling through my feed and I saw a video pop up, and it sounded, and I thought I thought it was my video because it sounded like mine and like the editing was mine. And I was like, what is this? And I realized it was for another builder. And I was like, oh my gosh, like Doug's working for other builders. I can't let this happen. I called him. I was like, what are you making at your corporate America job? I want to hire you full time. And I don't know how long we talked about it. We talked about it for, who knows? I ended up hiring Doug, and, and getting him on my team. And I think he's been full time close to 2 years. Um, and, during that time, we've done all this, like I said, revealed the site visit, crafted. He's been producing the Modern Craftsman podcast. He produces this podcast, and we're producing all this other content. And, you know, we we always kind of dabbled or like talked about, does Doug want to own his own company again? And he loved owning his own company but hated running the business. And Doug, maybe you can chime in and correct me if I'm wrong there, but, you know I really like building businesses. I have a lot of fun doing it. I think that, I have a good understanding of what makes a good business. And, for me, I want to partner with people that, that I feel as though I can be beneficial to. And that's ultimately what it came down to, is that, Doug and I wanted to partner on the media side because, in our opinion and in many others, we've done a pretty good job, a pretty damn good job at the social media, the video, all this content producing for NS builders. And while it's enormously fun, we thought it would be equally as fun to help other builders and contractors in this industry to create a brand and, create content and create strategy behind distribution of that content. That we said, why don't we offer these services to other people? So, where my role will fall in with Motif is that, a lot of my time and effort is spent, you know, not producing the content, but putting the content out there and writing some of the copy, but also understanding strategy as how to utilize one piece of content in multiple, facets. For example, we can take one long format video and, depending on how that video cuts, we can turn that into 30 to possibly 50 pieces of content. And that's no, secret. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that, how to turn one piece of content into like 64 pieces. And he's got a great, kind of outline on how to do that. And, truth be told, a lot of what we've done has been based around what he's, shared. Um, but what it came down to is just actually being able to do it and actually being able to understand how to do it and what audiences want to see. And for me, you know, the reason that I felt as though we could start offering this to other people is when I started realizing that over 90% of our clients are coming through the channel of social media in some way or the other. Whether that's a direct message saying, hey, I follow you guys on social media, or that's an architect that has been following us and has built credibility by watching what we do, or, a new client that doesn't follow us, but considers us and then goes down the rabbit hole of finding us online and basically confirms what they feel about us and say, yes, we want to work with NS builders because we've seen what they've openly shared through social media. We feel comfortable with the work that they're putting out. We want to work with them. And all of that, has driven us to, Motif. And Motif is, going to be certainly supporting NS builders. We are not slowing down any production of content. But now we're looking to, kind of broaden our wingspan and help other builders do what NS Builders has done and what, we continue to do from a content perspective. And, ultimately it might be as simple as putting together, a 1 month retainer or a 1 month project where we basically do a refresh and help kind of, jumpstart the content production. Or maybe it's a year our year retainer, where we come in and we help kind of ground up, rebrand, refresh, fix, uh, finish the website, because everyone's website's under construction. Make sure the branding is on point. Make sure the branding is consistent across all platforms. Make sure that content is being produced in a manner that explains who these companies are, who the people are in the company, and ultimately just help share the story as to why these companies exist and what they do, and ultimately help guide them in the direction that they want to be headed. I think about I have a handful of our trade partners, subcontractors, that have come to me at different points in their career and have said, Nick, I love doing this, but I really want to be doing this. Rich Cost is a great example. We met, gosh, I don't even know how many years ago, 3-4 years ago, maybe even 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And he was doing automotive metal fabrication. And I forget how we met specifically, but we did this handrail on the south end, and he nailed it. He built the entire thing off site. The fabrication level was just through the roof. And he's like, I really, really want to get into architectural metalwork. I'm like, all right, I can make that happen. And that's just my personality. I'm just going to tell you I'm going to make it happen, and I'm going to figure out how to do that. And I don't think he's done automotive fabrication since. He's been on the architectural metalwork since, and I'm sure he would tell you that it's been good and bad at times. But ultimately, you know, it's really fun for me to help guys like Rich, or guys in his position where they want to do something, and help guide them in that direction. Maybe guiding is the wrong word, but I think that a large part of him being able to focus on that is because I helped. And this is my opinion. Maybe this is just my opinion. I feel as though I helped get the word out that, hey, Rich Costa built this handrail. Check out the work, through the use of social media, through the use of our platform. And we've been able to leverage that, not just for us, but some of our trade partners and some of these other guys in the industry. That Rich is a one-man show. So for him to, spend the time to build the website and produce content and produce video and produce photos and be consistent with social media, that's another full-time job on top of that, where it's like he does such a great job at his craft, and he just needs to be partnered with clientele and other people that value that and are willing to pay him what he's worth, and without having, and I guess what I'm getting at is that's where we can come in, is that we can help, you know, formulate that story and help tell the story of who Rich is and what his product is and what he really wants to focus on and what clients are the right clients for him, and make sure that the clients also know that Rich is the right person for him, and really just outline like, hey, we are facilitating this potential relationship here through the use of good storytelling, good branding, and good media. And ultimately, through all of these conversations and realizing what we've been able to accomplish, for NS builders and other contractors, that's where we decided that we need to offer this, to more people, and hence the birth of Motif Media. And, that's, I mean, that's what that has been the big updates. I also want to talk about Architectural Digest. How it's so crazy to me, and I wish I remember when I said it. But I was sitting down with someone. I want to say it was on a podcast, and someone's like, what's your thought on print media? And I kind of went back and forth. I'm like, I've done some advertising. I don't think I'm going to spend any more money with print ad. It just hasn't. It doesn't seem to be my realm of not my realm of people. I shouldn't say that, because they very much are in a lot of ways, but it's just not. It doesn't seem to be the right advertising. I have so much more success with the digital media, that the amount of money that I've spent in print media. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't as consistent with it, but it also was a very high price point for me to stay consistent. So I said, I'm going to put all my money into digital media. And I'll tell you right now, in digital media, we're spending far north of six figures. I'll just be completely honest with that. With that being said, it has paid for itself, and we can see the ROI on that because of the clientele that we're getting. So I'll just get that off the table. But from a print media side, I had in that conversation, I had said, however, Architectural Digest, that's someone I can get down with. I really value, like, I feel like that's a brand that I want to be involved with. And this was months and months ago. And, and it was actually after we had Tile Freak on the Modern Craftsman. I found out about Ferris Rafuli, who is Drake's interior designer or designer. He designed the whole house. And then I went down the rabbit hole of watching every video of Drake's house being built and then Ferris and who he was. And I love the fact that, he's got this, he's just got this mindset. He's like, he shows up into the job site in a Ferrari. He's well dressed and he's kicking ass building these awesome homes. And he was on the cover of Architectural Digest. So long story short, I get this email, and Architectural Digest wants to do this digital media thing on YouTube about the potential of saving these old homes. And ultimately, it's not necessarily what I do. However, from me personally, I like talking about the potential of something. I like walking a home and saying, this would be really cool if you did this. Or I like talking about, taking a design and trying to push it to another level. And they loved the idea. They wanted to run with it, and we had filmed that first episode in Goshen, New York, in that awesome brick house, and it did really well. I think that video was posted. I want to say that one was posted. Was that Thanksgiving? I forget when that first episode was posted. Man, I should definitely know that. Either way, it was posted and it did really well. And it was super exciting. We filmed the second episode prior to that one being launched. They had posted the second one. That did well and got the call that they want to continue to film. And we're supposed to be going out in a couple of weeks to another one. I believe that the upcoming one is in New Jersey. But it's really fun. And it's my point of talking about the print media and being involved with AD is that it came around that I had kind of set my sights on it, and whatever. I'm not saying it was fate by any means, but them reaching out and me being able to kind of connect with them and do this digital media piece has really allowed me to start developing a relationship with them, to the point where now, as we build these more elaborate architecturally driven homes, I want them to be excited about it too, so I can introduce them to these projects early on. And I'm not saying that anything's in the works, except for the fact that I'm going to be introducing them to any project I think is worth being in the Architectural Digest magazine, and hopefully getting them to bite and maybe document it. So much. I keep trying to wrap this thing up. There's so much going on. The last portion of this is you know what? I'm going to save this one for a future episode, because it's another whole topic, and there's a couple things in motion with it. I'd like to see them unfold before mentioning it. But just know that NS Builders, we're continuing to do these amazing projects, but there's a whole nother side of NS Builders that is going to be, really pivotable. Is that the right word? Pivotal. Really pivotal to our growth as a home builder here in Boston and beyond. So, with that being said, like, I hope everyone is off to a great start to the year. I look forward to being. I don't know where I was going with that. I hope everyone is off to a great start with the year. I will see you guys next week. I'm going to be regular with these weekly NS podcasts. We have some additional formatting that we're going to be doing with these. So stick around. If you do want to hear anything more specific, let us know. In regards to Materia and Motif content, that is going to be developing into their own series as well. We're working through that, figuring out where that revealed series or the behind the scenes cabinet shop is going to live as far as our YouTube channels. But there's so much in development. We're so excited about where we are starting this year, and equally as excited to share it with you. So, as always, thanks to Reno Run for partnering with us as a sponsor for this podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.